It's your boy, The Incredible Minute. Yes, I'm back at it again. And this is American Horror Story 1984, episode 5. And I'm going to be 100% with you guys. Perfection, man. I wasn't dissatisfied at all. They filled everything and they gave me some stuff that I didn't even know I wanted this episode, man, which was absolutely wonderful. And first, I'm going to start off by being 100% and say, what? Are you kidding me? This episode was phenomenal, man. Okay, first off, let's start off. So it picked up right after last week's episode, and it started this week. We saw why Rita done what she done this whole season so far. We understand why she done it now, because her father was a serial killer. And for any Star Trek fans, because I am, any Star Trek fans out there, her father was Commander Tuvok from Star Trek Voyager. That was a nice thing. But that's where we started this episode at. We started this episode her following her father and finding out that he was a serial killer, and he killed himself right in front of her when she confronted him and tried to get him to change. And that's why she was so obsessed with serial killers, and that's why she went down that path of freeing Mr. Jingles. But that was not the only major twist of events that happened this episode. So after that happened, we jump right back to the actual present in the show, and we see her talking to the Night Stalker, and her talking to him about him being resurrected from being dead. And she was so out of it. She was so afraid and so scared. And then she ended up talking to like a ghost of her father also. So there was a lot going on, but that's not the only ghost person type thing we saw this episode. So after that, we get to see we see everybody else around the car fire, and Xavier's freaking out because his face is look at me. And he's kind of just out of it, man. His mind is gone. And but you can't blame him though. Let's be real, you can't blame this dude, man. And so then Margaret knocks him out, and then they get back to the cabin, and Margaret tries to separate everybody, and Montana sends Chet with Margaret so she could be alone with Brooke. And then, dude, okay, let's be real. This episode, Margaret didn't give no cares. Margaret was on it. She wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. Granted, yeah, let's be real. Pretty much everybody else is dead. But the main couple people we got left, Margaret's not even hiding it anymore. She's straight killing people out in the open. Dude, she hit Chet across the head with that oar, tied his feet up, cut his ear off, threw him in the lake, tied him to the anchor. Dude, she doesn't even care anymore. Margaret is just straight killing people like she was a serial killer. She set this whole thing up from the jump to kill all these people. That's why she done this. Okay, I just now got that. My bad. I just now got it. So that's Chet gone. One down. So then we have Brooke contemplating about saying that she saw Ray. And I was like, she saw Ray. No. You saw the Night Stalker. But I was wrong. She saw Ray, and she went and chased Ray. And Brooke slept with a ghost. I'm just being real, man. Let's be real. I think that Emma Roberts is absolutely beautiful, man. But she slept with a ghost. I mean, let's be real. I know and there, like what they said at the end of the episode is more like a purgatory type thing. So he's semi-real and semi-fake because they can't leave the camp, but as long as they're in the camp, like they have like a physical body. So I can understand and see how they end up sleeping together. Then they have their whole moment. She says, "I'm thirsty." It goes and sees his head in the refrigerator. What is that? My head? Oh, well, I'm pretty sure it is. So then we jump back to the cabin as she runs away from Ray. Then we jump back to the cabin, and while that's going on, we have Montana talking to Xavier, trying to wake him up and calm him down, because at that time fake Rita busted in through the door and was like, "I'm so sorry, you guys. This is all on me and everything. We need to get up out of here." And then Xavier comes to her like, look at my face. You did this to me. And now there was one moment in there that I just wanted to point out, that I had to point out, when Xavier was talking about him being on the cover of magazines and everything, and he was like looking at his face and stuff. Did anybody notice when he done Joaquin Phoenix's Joker moment when he was? That was absolutely wonderful. I don't know if anybody else called it, but I did, and I thought that was a wonderful little Easter egg that they threw in this episode. So then we have Xavier trying to kill Rita. Now he's chasing her all through the camp. And then that leaves Montana at the cabin, and Brooke comes back, and this whole time Brooke is hysterical. Montana's trying to calm her down. And the next thing you know, she cold clocks her. Then she starts kicking Brooke and telling her it's your fault that my brother's dead. He's the only one that ever really understood me and loved me. And then they showed us a flashback of Montana seeing Brooke when she first came to the aerobic gym, and when she sent the Night Stalker after her and everything. So they got into a full-blown fight, and they were throwing radios, knocking each other senseless and everything else. And then Brooke managed to escape a little bit, and then found herself inside, I want to say maybe the lunch place, and she was hiding from Montana, and the fight was still escalating. But also at this time, we have Rita hiding away from Xavier, and she comes in contact with Mr. Jingles, and he tells her, it's all your fault that this happened. And she was like, I know I shouldn't have done what I did, but I done it because my father was a serial killer, and I wanted to understand you guys. And he was like, well, I was never a killer before tonight. Margaret set it all up, and Rita looked lost, like, what? Yeah, you didn't know anything. Margaret set it all up, and she was the original Mr. Jingles. And she was like, well, go ahead and kill me, Mr. Jingles, because he said he had one job to finish, and that was to kill Margaret. She was like, well, go ahead and kill me. And he was like, no, you don't get off that easy. Then, dude, this is when it gets good, man. This is when it gets real good. So at this time, we have Margaret walking around the camp trying to be all civil, and she's a serial killer. And she runs into Mr. Jingles. Mrs. Jingles jacks her up, and dude, this chick's choking her like it's nothing, man. And I was loving it. I was like, kill Margaret, kill her, let her die. And then next thing you know, she pulls out the knife and try to kill him. It does nothing. But at that time, Xavier comes through and pretty much kills Mr. Jingles with his archery, and tell him like, yeah, I was Robin Hood. So, and then at that time when he saves Margaret, he's like, Margaret, wake up. Margaret, wake up. Margaret straight wakes up, turns over straight, and just rips his heart open, and then cuts his ear off. Dude, she's not hiding anything anymore. Margaret is straight loco, man. Dude, I did not know. I knew we couldn't trust Margaret from jump, but for her to just not be out in the open and not even care anymore is straight crazy, man. So then we have Xavier's dead. So we have Chet that's dead, Xavier's dead, and Ray's walking around like a ghost as everybody else. So then we see the Night Stalker talking to Mr. Jingles as he's dying. Would you like to accept Satan? And they kind of just pan off for that, and then we don't find out until the end of the episode does he accept. Then we jump back to Montana and Brooke's fight, and it's going at it, man. They're going at it, and by this time it's sunrise, and the kids are on their way to the camp. So we found out that everybody pretty much had a pretty tragic past going into this camp. Brooke's the only one, like, where her past really, it involved her, but like where she didn't do anything. She didn't really do anything. It just involved her. And comes to find out, man, she gets the better of Montana, and she stabs Montana multiple times. And at this time, all the kids on the bus and the bus driver sees this, and then they cut and pan away and comes back, and we see Brooke going to jail for the murders of everybody. She's getting blamed for the murder of everybody, which is so sad. And then after that happens, we see Margaret out here looking at the corner. Oh, okay. So she takes a knife, stabs herself, and then runs out there to the police. Oh my gosh, help. I'm the counselor, and she's crazy. She just went crazy. She's one of my counselors, and she just went crazy and started attacking and killing everybody. You killing people. Oh boy. That's why I said it was so perfect, because let's be real. I mean, unless you're like a super horror aficionado and you just know how writing goes and everything, dude. No, but I can't say for a fact, but I didn't expect this ending. I expected it to end weird, but not like this, man. This shifted everything that I thought I knew. And then it's ending, and we see Brooke going to jail. We see Ray wandering around the camp, and then a paramedic checks on him and checks his blood pressure, and that's something, it is not reading anything. So he gets inside the ambulance and tries to leave, and poof, it pops him right back at the checkpoint of the camp. And then at that time, the other camper from the 70s comes back and was like, well, you are home, because Ray said he just wanted to go home. And at this time, it ends, and that's how it goes off. And we also see the Night Stalker and Mr. Jingles steal a policeman's car and drive off. And then at that time, we see Montana take a sheriff's officer or a police officer's gun and shoot him. And then she starts talking to Ray and the camp guy from the 70s, and it was like, she made Ghostbuster references and everything. I am Zool. It was fun. I was like, I am Zool. It was nice and fun. And then after that, man, that's where it ends, and we see them hanging around the camp. And then we get the preview for next week's episode, and we see that not only Ray and the counselor from the 70s and Montana are alive in purgatory as like little ghost people, but Xavier's there as well, and they're killing people. Dude, I'm super excited. And I guarantee you 100%, Chet's not dead. Chet ends up becoming a serial killer as well, because I just feel like that's the way it's gonna go. Because, like, granted, Margaret threw him under the water in the lake, but there's like, he's gonna be like the Jason-esque character, because she cut his ear off and she hit his face, and he was under the water for a long period of time. And I feel like he's alive, and he's going to be the Jason character that's going to come back, because now I don't think we're dealing with the Night Stalker and Mr. Jingles anymore at the camp. They went and headed to Los Angeles, so we're going to see them killing people in Los Angeles, and we're going to deal with Montana, Xavier, Ray, the guy from the 70s, Margaret, and I'm thinking Chet. I'm calling it as Chet, being the guy in the water that, like, when we saw the preview, that snatched someone from under the water. That's what I'm calling. That's my opinion. But that's pretty much all that happened in this episode, man. It was straight crazy, and I did not expect it to go the way that it went. But what did you think about this episode, man? I thought it was absolutely phenomenal, and I think it was a well-deserved round of applause, man, because it totally took everything that I thought I knew and how they were going to end it and shifted everything, man. This is your boy, Dick Incredible. Don't forget to smash that like button until you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them, and subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. Peace out.